Is chivalry dead in American society? Was the requested question 10 players was asked to speak on. It's a question for the world though. Not just America. But first, to pro antithesis. Apologies for the request delay. But this video was done months ago. Since it was a few minutes longer than most of our videos, we were asked for private information to upload it. The kind that would give people the ability to track and invade our privacy. With the excuse that it was for our protection. Like somehow 5 extra minutes meant it might not be us. These people are constantly coming up with weak excuses to get people's private info. Yet they're not letting you have theirs. So we're respectfully explaining why it wasn't uploaded. We had to find a way to work around this, and keep our private lives. Because if uploaders keep accepting everything these people come out with, eventually they'll come up with a shallow excuse to have blood, stool and hair samples. Along with a camera implanted in your ass. You'll wonder why you keep getting ads about corn. Then you'll find out it was because they saw a kernel of it in your poop. Now let's not fuck around, and break this whole chivalry thing down from the start. The first thing people need to know is that contrary to their beliefs, the origin of chivalry was not based on romance and getting laid. Ending up with a good fuck and humping that booty. The gentleman was one who displayed respect, courtesy, and honor towards everyone. That includes his fellow man, woman, the wealthy, poor, strong, weak, young and old. It just so happened that when women would meet that gentleman, they would instantly come to the conclusion that this was the kind of man they wanted to be with. The same way a man wanted that kind of lady. Naturally, if you was writing a book, or dreaming of a partner, that's the kind most would pick. So now, much of the world thinks that's what chivalry is. Well, it ain't. So put those seatbelts on. Because real chivalry was never alive in American society. But first, we must ask the question. What is chivalry? The truth. Forget Wikipedia, or what your educational system may claim. And forget all that knighthood bullshit. They didn't start no damn chivalry. It was a nice concept, but they served the wicked. People act like chivalry was the invention of the taco, or egg roll. When chivalry has been around for ages. It's all over the walls of Egypt, and was in lands the modern world knows nothing of. Medieval times just stamped another name on something that was around long before that era even existed. When you tell those without sin to cast the first stone, chivalry is what it's an act of. We all know what we mean when we use this term in modern times. True chivalry is nothing more than the expressive characteristics of one with heart. And it comes from the secret of knowing self. A secret lost in time. Most people relate opening a door, or offering a seat to be acts of chivalry. And when it's done from the heart, they are. But when they're not done with heart, they're not acts of chivalry. They're techniques. There's a difference. They're specific acts once taught are proper. Or are ways to charm a lady, and make her say shit like,
"Wow, so chivalry isn't dead after all. He's such a gentleman.
Damn, he's so fine."
And if she's hot, he usually does those things hoping it'll lead to him getting some pussy. And quite often it does. But chivalry techniques are not unconditional. They're acts with ulterior motives. So it's fake. And when one learns fake chivalry techniques, that same guy doesn't know what to do when a lady's about to slip. Other than watch her fall. Because no one taught him a catch a lady that's about to slip technique. But real chivalry isn't taught, and doesn't have to be. Because having heart is a natural thing. So a guy with heart does the chivalrous thing in every situation. He doesn't have to think on it. He catches a lady because he sees she's about to fall. And a man with heart doesn't want to see her on the floor. No one has to teach him that. So here's the truth. You have your social chivalry. That consideration, and common courtesy one has towards their fellow man or woman. Then there's that charming romantic chivalry people often think of when they hear the term. So we're gonna speak a little on both, since many people also think of that gentleman, or lady, acting like a gentleman or lady in circumstances which lead to romance. But understand something. We often ask if chivalry's dead. Insinuating that it was once alive. So when we insinuate it was once alive, we have to ask the question. For who? Because chivalry towards everyone by the majority has never existed. Sojourner Truth can tell you that. And the history of mistreatment towards various ethnic groups is so vast, that whatever people have heard isn't 1% of 1% of what's occurred. Heartless shit. Like this.
Bubba done raped me. See, I was in the shed when Bubba came in. He said to me, "You be looking something good, Miss Missy. I knows you's the master's wife, but me can't helps myself when I sees your white flesh."
Yeah. This type of heartless shit.
Then he pulled off my dress and started putting them big black slave hands all over my body. I told him to stop, but he kept rubbing me up something good with them big strong hay-baling slave hands. Then he penetrated me. He was so big. He kept raping me something good. Then he took me behind the big tree and started raping me something good behind the tree. He wouldn't stop. Then he dragged me into the old wagon and started raping me something good in the wagon. Then he took me to the hole and started...
Alright. I heard enough. Johnny, round up the boys, and bring Bubba to the hanging tree. He done raped Missy. So get them nooses ready. Bubba's the biggest, strongest slave he guns. So bring the other slaves so they can see what happens to the biggest, strongest when they dare think of touching a white woman. Yes, sir.
Interesting. Perhaps this was the age of chivalry.
Oh, may the Lord be upon us. It's just so horrible. I still can't get how Bubba was raping me something good.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. You know damn well that nigger didn't rape you. Every time you claim a slave raped you, we gotta hang him. This the third hanging we doing this week.
Understand that this was normal shit at one time. So we certainly know that that wasn't the era of chivalry. Yet they show you this glorified bullshit in movies of these evil fucks helping ladies off their fucking carriages, picking up hankies and tipping their hats. But real chivalry isn't saying some proper shit, while being evil heartless bastards behind the scenes. Holding a door open for a lady, or offering her a seat, while not allowing her to have an opinion. Yeah. These were some real charming motherfuckers. We also know it wasn't that long ago that King was still fighting for the respect of the rights of all to be treated equal. And Native Americans still live on reservations. That's like someone coming in your house, jacking it, killing most of your family, then telling the few of you who are left that they preserved a shoebox in the basement closet of your own house for you to dwell. Yeah. More heart. So when did chivalry exist? Did it exist because people would hold the door open and say, "Yes ma'am," at one time? We're telling you. Their social chivalry was nothing but a surface act. Chivalry's about heart, and there's no such thing as a landjacking racist with heart. And the current truth is this. We live in a world where people fear looking at themselves. Like we notice there's always some guy talking about the bitches. And what the bitches did. Or some women talking about how rude men are nowadays, and how these rude men and women need to get their shit together. Well, if you're constantly having problems with a bunch of bitches, you better look in the mirror and make sure a bitch isn't looking back. And I personally know about this stuff. Because I had a rude bitch in my life once too. It was the longest relationship I ever had with a skank bitch. Do you know what I did? I looked in the mirror. And told myself I better get my shit together. I didn't hang around her for ages arguing with her, complaining day in and day out and year out about her or how she's doing what women do, and how women are bitches. Or claiming how I hate that bitch, so let me go make a baby with this chick. I didn't claim she needed to get her shit together either. I looked in the mirror. And I claimed I needed to get my shit together instead. To me. And no one else. Then I stopped looking in my mirror. Opened my door and walked around to the passenger side, and told her she had to get out my car. And I did it with chivalry too. I opened her door. And said, "I'm sure you're a nice girl. But you've gotta do that snappy head popping shit with some other motherfucker." Then I drove the fuck off. We were together for quite a while too. I mean that was the longest 2 minutes of my life. Fortunately we never left the front of her house. Now I don't know if some guy ever took that bitch to see that movie, but it sure the fuck wasn't gonna be me. So no matter what you experience in life, don't be afraid to look in the mirror. Because that's where the power to have what you want lies. Not in what others do. Life is a buffet. And if you want to walk back to your table with the rotten food, instead of the fresh fruit, then complain about the rotten food. Just remember something. You picked that shit. Or was offered it and you accepted it. That goes for our fucked up relationships too. People get what they accept. And they've accepted a world of fake chivalry. True chivalry has never existed in America. That includes the bullshit romanticized fake times of chivalry that Hollywood promotes. Understand that there's always been a few chivalrous men and women with heart. But we're talking about the majority of society. Not a few. Because most of those gentlemanly acts of conduct in those golden days of chivalry, was nothing more than a lot of fake bullshit. So some guy offers his seat. Or says, "May I take it thy coat, my fair lady?" And people think he did that because that was a time when men had heart, and respected women. But they respected nothing. Especially the majority of the wealthy. Because they certainly wasn't saying that to that black, Asian or Hispanic lady. He was handing them that white woman's coat instead, and telling her to hang it up. And hurry up. Bitch. For 10 players, true chivalry is a thing expressed towards any real lady or gentleman. Not something restricted only towards those people think are their race, or status. But women lived like shit with no freedom. No matter what race they were. Because they weren't respected. Those men gave no respect because they didn't have heart. They were frauds, who used techniques with women, which was titled as chivalry. No matter how many doors they held open. The job of a woman was to be a weak bitch, sit there, shut the fuck up, and bear sons. Then breastfeed those little future bastards when they come out, and clean their poop. Then when they're old enough and all the nasty hard work is done, the man can play teacher doing the fun stuff. And that's only if it was a son. So they helped her off a horse, or opened the door for her with their chivalry techniques. But if she wanted to rock the stage, run for office, or simply vote, they'd shut that down, and run some bullshit about how a lady doesn't do such things. Usually after roughing her up real good behind doors. But those things women can do today. And depending on your perspective, it's a form of chivalry in the modern world that slays that old world bullshit by a landslide. But a lot of women want to throw this chivalry is dead shit on men. So we say to you, if you want to go find a time machine, and live in some past era, be our guest. You just better hope that machine doesn't break. Because we guarantee you, you won't make it there for a full day before trying to get back to these modern times. Especially when you get on that horse, and those chivalrous ladies and gents start calling you a fucking slutty whorish bitch for not riding side saddle. Then when you explain to them how uncomfortable, dangerous and illogical it is, you might end up in a jail cell, and you can bet your ass, it won't matter to those fake chivalrous men. As long as they're not riding that way themselves. They won't give a fuck about your comfort or how many back-breaking deadly accidents occurred from women riding that way. Because their chivalry is fake. Because it takes one with heart to care. Something they didn't have. And if you think some rules need to be changed so you'll vote, hang it up. You're not allowed. Because you're a woman. But if you want to go there, just so some heartless bastards with breath that smells like a dead animal crawled into their mouths and died 20 more times, can hold a door open for you, while not allowing you to have an opinion, be our guest. But understand that chivalry was very much like telling a motherfucker to smile for the cameras. Then as soon as you finish taking the shot, you put your real face back on. But it's the shot of the fake face your history books print. And you can bet your ass that any Native American would trade you holding the door open, or tipping your hat to them to have their fucking land back. And all the problems with disrespectful chivalry lacking people in America today actually derive from those fakes people think possessed chivalry. And their stupid educational system, which doesn't teach you shit about yourselves. Because it doesn't educate. It trains and recruits society to believe in a fake face. And if you think historical stories about dirty dead murdering land stealing motherfuckers, and information on how to keep the dreams of these dead fucks alive has something to do with you, you better think again. Real chivalry is a natural process that comes with self-completion. Not a phony social act. The ones who know themselves are the ones with heart. Through heart they experience oneness. The ability to feel what others feel. If you do something for your mate to make them happy, and it makes them happy, it makes you happy as well. Because you're feeling what they feel. That's the foundation to chivalry. To offer an exhausted lady a seat because you feel her exhaustion, not because you're using a technique, is real chivalry. And was often the foundation to women falling in love. Unlike chivalry techniques which made people fall in lust. And this heart that made people feel what others felt, was often the foundation to the work of scientists and inventors. Creating things that would make the world better, and manifest ease for people in life. Like offering that seed from the heart. But the fake face of your chivalrous vampire system is designed to destroy this. To put you in competition with one another rather than oneness. Greed is the destroyer of heart. So anything invented to make your life better, or open the hearts of people has been stopped. By the so-called chivalrous. Nikola Tesla created a system for free energy for everyone. On the entire planet. Meanwhile Edison purposely prevented the system from ever being provided to you. Also he could profit. And you're being drained to this very day because of this dead man taking from you what was meant to be free. A snake who chivalrously tipped his hat to many. Things are designed the way they are on purpose. True chivalry is something your system works hard to prevent. Fake smiles for the camera is what they want to keep alive. Understanding greed and the money deception is one of the keys to understanding why there's such a lack of real chivalry. It's finding self-completion within which will awaken the real chivalry the world's in need of. So how do you find this? By finding out what you are. Not who. But what. Which is the most important thing anyone can ever learn in life. Yet no one's teaching it. When one does teach it, the world creates a religion in their name. After they kill them, then they hide and rewrite everything they said. Which is always about the secret knowledge of self. Heart. Which is the foundation to true chivalry. And any man or woman who finds this out, finds their self-completion, and will solve every issue concerning chivalry. Because they will have found out the secret of self. When you find out what you truly are, and hold true to that. No matter what people think. That's when people will start thinking highly of you. And you won't need any of these bullshit fake acts of manners created by others long dead and gone to feel complete. Because knowing what you are is completion. The average human doesn't even know the purpose of the very hairs on their head and face. Or the parts of their own brain. They don't have the surface knowledge of self, so they certainly don't have the hidden knowledge. Learn it. And chivalry will be infallible, because you'll realize the secret is the truth of all, and shouldn't be a secret. No matter what race, age, or place. Then you'll know yourself. Women who know themselves will stop caring about feeling like women based on men getting on their knees for them. Or even having a man. And that's when men will start getting on their knees for them. Just as the man who feels like less of a man because some ladies aren't acting all giddy over him if he hands them a rose, isn't a man. And when he learns the truth about himself, he won't feel like less of one because of it. And that's when the ladies will start acting all giddy over him. We get what we accept in life. So for those who care about chivalry in society, it starts with you. Find your own inner strength, because that's what attracts all things in life. Stop chasing shit, and simply be the nature of your desires. Then your desires will chase you instead. Trophies are designed for people who are worthy of them. Not people who chase them. Chivalry's no different. Don't seek it being expressed towards you to feel like a real and self-sufficient woman or man. Be a real and self-sufficient woman or man, and you'll experience chivalry being expressed towards you. And all it takes is knowing the secret of self. Then all will understand that what others do, doesn't make you what you are. What you are, makes others do what they do. And what you are, is a choice that's up to you. Not up to what others do. When we realize this, real chivalry in modern society will be awakened for the first time. Because it's not out there. It's in here. And when we awaken it in here, we automatically express it out there, causing it to awaken in others, and go viral. And this awakening, has already started. The question now is, what is the secret knowledge of self we speak of?
Bub is one slave I'm gonna miss. He was the strongest of them all.
Me too, I'm gonna miss Bubba too.